ப்ரோ ஐ வென்ட் லைவ். நீங்க டைட்டில் அண்ட் எல்லாம் சேஞ்ச் பண்ணுங்க. ஓகே. ஹலோ. वो जुगनी शीशा मार दी जुगनी. यार कोई नहीं. नहीं.
Right. Good morning.
Hi, Samik. Good morning. Samik,
Hi.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, sir, Pavitra ma'am will be joining in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah,
be
sure.
starting the session by 11 o'clock sharp.
Sure. No problem. I
So
think
just,
that
just
works.
inform Pavitra ma'am to join as quickly as possible.
Right. Yeah. So the only comment was that I see that the questions from, the career side of things versus the application side of things are a little bit mixed and may not be a great experience or a flow. Um, I I did not. I should have given this feedback earlier, but it didn't happen. So I don't know whether um, something can be done about that.
Sure, sir. I'll just check out with my team. Uh,
Okay.
I've just informed them, so they are looking into it.
Sure.
Yes.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to this very relevant session on studying your for your graduate degree in data science and what are the opportunities, what does it take. We're going to hear a lot about this extremely popular field. Today, it's one of the hottest fields, and you are going to hear it from an expert. My co-host, Samik. Hi, Samik. Welcome to Galvanize. We're so excited to have you here.
Hi, Pavitra. Good morning. Good morning and good afternoon or evening, everyone, wherever you're joining from.
Thank you. Thank you. So I will be introducing you shortly. Let's dive right in. So what you see here on the screen are a few of Galvanize students whom we have helped from different parts of the world to find and study at their dream destination in other parts of the world. Right? That's what makes this journey so rewarding, because we help fulfill dreams of studying abroad. And we have done so for people in South Asia, Middle East, Africa, South America. And a lot of these people naturally want to go and study in countries like US, Australia, regions like Europe and Canada and so on, and UK. And I have also been through that journey. So have many of us at Galvanize. So that's what motivates us, because we know the transformative effect this journey can have on an individual and on their families. So a little bit about Galvanize. Now, we provide end-to-end personalized solutions for anyone aspiring to pursue a global degree. Right? What does this mean? This means right from the test preparation that one needs to take for applying to universities. For undergrad degrees, it's the SAT. For graduate degrees, it's the GRE. And the English preparatory exams like the TOEFL and IELTS, we can help you in a very personalized manner, end-to-end. And then applying to these degrees themselves, whether it's for a bachelor's, master's, PhD, MBA, these are all avenues where we can guide you in how to select the university suitable for you, how to apply, how to write the essays. So pretty much every step. And the last mile assistance for the visa guidance, for loan. So everything we will help you end. And it comes from the heart, because we have been through our own higher education journeys, me and my co-founding team. And we wanted to provide the kind of experience that we wish we had received when we went abroad or to different institutes. And excited to share that these are some of the countries from where students have joined Galvanize. They have enrolled with us, for our products and services. And these are the countries where our students most prefer to go for their study abroad journey. And we've guided students to get accepted to more than 1,000 universities across 18 countries. And the popular destinations, of course, US, UK, Canada, Australia, Germany, Singapore, France. But now you have also a lot of other countries where the government actively courts highly skilled workforce from other places. Therefore, when you do a master's in their country or an undergraduate degree, they know that you're going to become a very productive contributor towards their economy. So a lot of people are welcoming highly skilled, immigrants as well. And this is what makes it super popular. And we've also helped our students get accepted to more than 150 different specializations. So data science is one specialization, quantum physics is another, wide variety of areas of expertise. And that makes us feel very excited, because we're always guiding people who are eventually going to make some of the breakthroughs in their respective areas of interest. So my team will share a few links here. Definitely check out our Quora review and our mobile apps that have more than 1 million downloads. Please do check it out. And a brief introduction to myself. My name is Pavitra. I completed my master's in electrical engineering at Stanford with a full fellowship. And I have worked in the Bay Area for a few years. I loved my field of specialization. It was digital signal processing. So quite math intensive and very exciting, image processing and all that. I really liked it. I think what I liked more, or what sort of got to me more, was how can I give this kind of transformative experience to the next generation in a scalable manner? And that drove me to start Galvanize Global Education. And, really, exciting to share some of our outcomes, which I will be doing so. But our goal is to, I wish I can, I know how difficult it was to do everything, to apply and to struggle going through that very lonely journey. And we want to make sure that whatever, we at our leadership team, we wish we had, our students get. So that is what motivates us to do that. So this is time for your first poll, and we want to make this very engaging, very interactive, right? So we really want you all to let us know what you think of different aspects here. So it's time for our first poll, and here we go. The idea is you can actually type in some of your questions. I'm sure you've come here to learn about data science. And there's so many things to talk about. We do not know how much we can cover, but definitely we have picked a few areas where we feel a lot of students are curious about. But if you have any pressing questions that you wish to be answered, definitely this is a chance for you to do so. And to the extent to which your questions are relevant to the entire audience, we will definitely try to respond to it. So any of your questions, just type in what you would, any specific questions you have for us today. All right. So thanks a lot for giving your inputs. We can use the poll to do that. And now I want to share with you some of our students who have who are currently or have completed their masters in data science. These are students whom we have guided throughout the admissions journey, right from the university selection to how to prepare their and present themselves through their statement of purpose, as well as other parts of the application journey. So I'd like you to meet Nafisa from Bengaluru. And she is, you can see that she has changed her branch from electronics and communications to data science. And I've also shared with you her profile here, her test scores, her GPA, her projects. See, I want you to get, this is not just for us to showcase our success stories, which we have thousands of. This is for you to understand how you can build your profile and what kinds of projects you can do to strengthen your chances of acceptance into this lovely field. So this is definitely something that we would want you to take a, that's what I'm trying to get. For example, you can see she has done an internship in data science. She has done some various projects. I know that not everybody's profile is going to be different. I just want you to get an idea. Right. And as you know, Columbia is an Ivy League university. This is a path that there are so many paths to get to good universities. This is one of the paths. This is Ritvik from IIT Dharwad. From mechanical engineering, he wanted to move into data science. And this is his profile. I'm showing you a variety of students so you can, see how you want to think through your journey. This is Abhilash. He went to NYU for his master's in data science. This is what his profile looks like. Meet Pranav from Chennai. He is from a management background, and he went to do his master's in business data science from Michigan State. So data science is not just one lump data science. You can choose to, the areas in which you want to focus your skills on. This is Kevin from Chennai. He did his bachelor's in computer science, and he's went on to do his master's in data science at UNT, University of North Texas in Dallas. Meet Akhil from South India, from Venkateshwara University. I have to check my map if it's in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, but definitely one of these two states. And he went on to do his master's at University of Buffalo, sunny Buffalo, if it's called, in New York, in data science again. This is his profile. So we would have guided these students in different ways, which help them bring out the best in their profile. This is Veer from Mumbai. He also went from electronics and telecommunications to a master's in data analytics. Right now, you may be wondering what's the difference between data science, data analytics, business analytics, data science for business. So Samik is going to have all these answers for you and more shortly. This is another inspiration, Yashwant from NIT Surat. He went to Germany for his master's in data analytics. Here is Shyam from Trivandrum in Kerala to Germany. He's from IIT Madras. He went to his master's in data science as well. So now that I have given you a whole bunch of inspiration, guys and girls and everyone, this is now time for your second poll, and we want to have you answer this really interesting question. Well, actually, it's a very basic question. How, I'm sorry, I think this session is not yet completed, so this poll should really not be asked at this point. I think someone invoked the wrong poll. The poll, how familiar are you with the application process for universities abroad? In other words, all these students who did whatever they did to get there, what is your familiarity and how confident are you to navigate this important journey? Because this is going to help us understand how best we can prepare you and guide you. All right, thank you. All of you have said that you're either not familiar at all or you're somewhat familiar. No one has said that you're very familiar. That means it is definitely something that I'm glad this session is going to be useful to everyone here. So that's fantastic. It gives us as hosts inputs that whatever we're going to share with you is going to be very helpful to you in your journey. At this point, I'm very excited and privileged to introduce my co-host. Please meet Samik. He has done his master's and PhD at the very reputed and prestigious University of Wisconsin-Madison in the US. And currently he heads data science and infrastructure at Auquan. Now, Samik has also attended quite one of India's most reputed schools for his undergraduate degree. He graduated with his BTech from IIT Kharagpur. And he has more than 20 years of experience building analytics in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and products even before AI and ML became the buzzword that it is today. There were a lot of scientists working on the forefronts and pioneering the foundations of what you see the explosion is today. And one of these is Samik. And he has worked in startups as well as in Fortune 50 companies, right? So pretty interesting background. He's into entrepreneurship, personal finance, product management, something that's very close to my heart. And he's also led R&D development, scaled AI products, including areas like NLP, generative AI, risk analysis, various domains he's applied these skills to, right from retail, customer support, fintech, and probably a lot more. So this is someone who understands the forefront of this very, very highly relevant, exciting area for a lot of people. And he's understood how to apply it to solve actual real world problems. He's understood how to deploy it at scale. He knows how to build teams that can, in turn create and maintain these products. He's someone who's been in and out in this space. And can't think of a better person to answer all your questions today. So without further ado, Samik, thank you for your patience. And I have a lot of questions lined up for you today. And, get ready to disseminate your knowledge, your experience, your advice to I would say, an excited and avid listeners and viewers today, because they are people in the next generation who want to follow your footsteps, and they are eager for your advice. So let's dive in.
Well, thank you very much, Pavitra, for that really, really generous introduction. I appreciate that. Thank you very much again to you, Ram, and the Galvanize team for inviting me to this session. Really excited to be able to answer some of the questions. So, yeah, let's get started.
Wonderful. So this is, not, I'm probably my introduction did not do as so we actually want you to speak in your own words about yourself, more like, I mean, there's a lot we're going to dive into, but in terms of your decisions of your education background, especially your early years, your hobbies, what your formative part of your journey and your interests.
Sure. So, yeah, you did cover. I did my undergrad from IIT Kharagpur. It's one of the premier institutions in India in the technological science field. I did in a stream called Industrial Engineering and Operations Research, or IEOR. It's a pretty common field. It has its genesis in the late, Second World War II, when there were a lot of importance in optimizing processes and various systems. And so this operations research basically talk about solving optimization problems in a numerical way. And folks who are a little bit familiar with the field of data science and machine learning, it's essentially solving lots and lots of optimization problems. So this just happened by chance. However, that background, right from bachelor's all the way to master's and PhD, did help me in this particular transition. Because, when I was doing my grad school, this is when I did my bachelor's, I finished my bachelor's in 2000, which is a long, long, long time back, right? That time, machine learning and the field of data science was nowhere there. So at some point, I had to so-called transition. Although I was in this related field all along, but I had to so-called transition within a more, how do I put this, more familiar data science type of portfolio, and that helped me in doing that. Of course, other than academia and things like that, I do like, I'm a bit of a nerd to write, like reading, technical and non-technical books. I have a bunch of pet projects, which I like working on from time to time, personal finance being one of them, and a few others. And play badminton, cooking a little bit here and there. That's all.
Well, that's lovely. It's so nice to hear about the human side of experts. And we often forget that everybody has a life outside their
Yes, indeed.
Professional. Great. So, since our audience is keen to do their masters or PhD in different countries, we would love to hear about your experience doing your masters and your PhD from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and which a lot of students in India, at least, refer to as WisMad. So, yes, all excited to hear.
Sure. So, as I was mentioning, I completed my bachelor's in 2000, and then I worked for 1 year in India. That time, software outsourcing was a big thing, even nowadays. But that was sort of the advent of, so it was reasonably easy to get those type of jobs. So I did a work in a company for a year. However, I thought that that's not what I was looking for at that point of time. So I decided to go for grad school. Went for grad school in 2001. I took a direct admission to PhD. I did want to do a PhD, so I just did a direct admission to PhD. Now, a typical PhD program in many universities has a rider about completing masters. So I had to do that as well. I did a master's along the way, but my focus always was to complete a PhD program. Right. I had a couple of options. I ended up choosing Wisconsin Madison. I did a focused approach. What I mean by that is I completed in slightly more than 4.5 years, which is a reasonably fast sort of PhD with a bunch of conference presentations and a couple of papers here and there. And then pretty much focused on. So my PhD area was also in operations research, but that time I had to choose a specialization. So my area was in what is known as transportation auctions, a very specific field of applied operations research or applied optimization, I would say, in the domain of transportation, like trucking businesses and things like that. After that, I opted for a career in industry and rather than a career in academia. Both options were open. However, I was not very keen on joining academia, so I have so far pursued a career in industry only. So yeah, in brief, that's sort of how the journey has been.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, we would love to have a separate session only on the PhD part, right? In future.
Sure.
Because a lot of students know that, I mean, they want to do a PhD, but they don't know if they are the right fit. They don't know what it entails.
Yes.
You have all these different takes on the journey, like the Piled Higher and Deeper, magazine has, there's the qualifiers, what it
That's right. That's right. Yeah. It is an experience in itself. Yeah.
It's an experience in itself. So we would love to invite you for a session just diving into PhD. So
sure.
Great. Thank you so much for that. So now we would love to hear your inputs, and I will also share some of our observations. When universities receive applications from so many students around the world, right? And our students also ask us these questions. Okay, what do I do? I have a low GPA, right? I have this kind of GRE score. I have done these many projects. How are they going to be analyzed by universities? So I will just take a moment to share some of our experiences, and then I would love to hear you comment on it along, because you have seen this journey, through various lenses, including your own, your peers, right? And many students. So I first want to give some dose of inspiration, right? Like GPA or test scores are not the be all and end all. Definitely, there are some things that you can do to improve your profile. This is one of our students from Mumbai who went on to do his master's in data science. So what is important is you have to compensate for your scores and your marks and transcripts by doing projects which bring out your interest and initiative in this space, right? And especially if you have some work experience, if that can be a big plus as well, because as time passes, no one is, they ask you what was your GPA at IIT KGP. I mean, somebody might, but right?
Absolutely.
Right. So try and build on the other side of things. I will quickly give some more doses of inspiration. This is Joshna from Hyderabad. And again, from computer science to data science, she went to Texas. These are, again, you can see that here, she's actually got work experience and she has done some good projects as well. So before, I go back, sorry. So do you have anything to add on this aspect?
Yeah, so I think you covered it quite well. Yeah, absolutely. So, just to use a term from personal finance, you have to use a portfolio approach here. And there are two ways I would put, like how you can apply a portfolio approach. The first one is that your chance of getting admitted in any of these universities itself is going to be a sum total of a portfolio of, for example, not only the GRE score or the CGPA, but also, SAW or your experience that you bring in. So all those things together would be considered. So it's not a one thing, right? So it's a combination of things. And how you stand vis-a-vis the other, attendees and other applicants for that combination is what is going to determine. Now, another point that I would like to mention is that you have to make an informed decision a little bit. What I mean by that is that, like, you have to create the groundwork a little early. Like, for example, right? Let's say you have, or you are aware that you have a little bit of a weakness in terms of your CGPA or your GRE score. Create a groundwork, contact faculties in schools you are interested in early, and check out what is their opinion about your chances. This is something that is quite recommended, and a lot of people do that to figure out which professors to study with, etc. But it's also possible to um, ask for opinion about your chances to get into a particular program. There is also the other part that is use a portfolio approach for schools as well, right? Like a few top tiers, a few middle tiers, a few safe schools, and that also can mitigate a few risky areas like low CGPA and low GRE score and things like that. So I don't know if that.
Absolutely. I love the way you said the portfolio approach, right? Very often in countries like India, and many similar regions, we tend to think only of a one-dimensional approach, focusing on our scores in a particular exam or a set of exams. And that is not at all the approach that universities are.
That is absolutely true.
Right?
Yeah.
They will look at a variety of aspects, and that's where the portfolio approach can definitely help everybody, right? So
and just to sort of add a few things right here, that the portfolio approach is not only applicable while you are deciding the school, like applying for various schools, or even like how you are looking at your overall chances of getting admitted, but also a portfolio approach to even an application to higher studies, like that may or may not be successful. So you should have a portfolio approach even for that purpose as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, the portfolio makes sense. I think it's a good approach in general, right? So in specifically looking at data science, now someone wants to do a master's in data science, and and this is very sage advice we look forward to hearing from you, because this field has exploded so much that everybody and their uncle and aunt want to do data science now. So what are the prerequisites one must have to pursue a master's in data science? What makes me eligible and well positioned and well prepared to gain admission and also benefit from that experience? And a lot of students want to know what are the prerequisites.
Right. So first, let me put a caveat here, is that as I was mentioning, I did my master's and PhD long time back when this type of programs were not in existence or not in vogue, right? So my answer is a little bit anecdotal, a little bit from what I have helped over the years many students for their admissions. So I have learned a few things from them, and this is based on that experience. So it's not my personal experience, because I did not do a master's in data science. So
there was no masters in data science in those days. Anyway,
there was no masters in data science.
It's after the smartphone came in, and then you collected data continuously. Your Cortana, there's plenty of data, and now it's called data science, but there were always people who were studying data that was available, like the China study, or when in health data, population data, right? So
Right. So, to pursue the prereqs are obviously a bachelor's in a science or engineering field. So that is definitely one of the prereqs, right? You will have to do computations for a master's in data science. So familiarity with one or two coding language, especially coding language like Python, which is sort of the de facto language of data science. So experience, or at least a decent exposure in Python, R, and a few other similar like Java, a few other programming languages, kind of thing. That's also I would say prereq. I would say understanding of business areas where data science is applied is somewhat of a prereq. Because why I say this is because data science is actually a very applied area. It's meant to be a business, like applied in business. That's why data science exists, right? We can argue that pretty much any discipline exists for that reason, but data science more so, right? And so a little bit of understanding of where all are the application area of data science is going to help you in getting prepared for a master's in data science.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to just add a couple of pointers
Yeah, sure.
to what you said. But you really laid out the prereqs well, right? A background that is strong in analysis, logical thinking and analytical thinking, typically in engineering or science background. I would and then the programming languages, and then the intent to apply these skills to solve real world business problems or other research problems. So a couple of things is we've noticed that students who some of our students do not have a science background. Let's say they have a commerce background with their 11th and 12th standard, and then they went on to do a BBA, bachelor's in business administration, and also got some work experience. We find that as long as they have done very well in math, and
Yes.
statistics,
Yes.
right? Accounting and economics really helps, because economics is one of those where there's tons
Right.
of data, and one has
That's
to
right.
analyze.
Basically,
So,
a flair or a nose for numbers would help. It doesn't have to be a formal, like science and engineering only, but absolutely, I completely agree. Like a bit of a nose for numbers would go a long way.
Yeah, I like how you said that, nose for numbers, right? Definitely. And I think an interest in ascertaining patterns, or trends when you're confronted with large, data sets and seeing where they lead. So it is, yeah. So definitely, one of our students in the audience just asked, I'm a class 11 commerce student. Will this session be helpful for me? So I think definitely it can be helpful as long as you are, outlining it in an interesting way, right? So and many students who have a math background, you're definitely eligible. If you have an undergrad in statistics, it's like you're actually best positioned
Absolutely.
compared to other fields. So the beauty, like you said, you need to have a nose for numbers. You need to have a comfort level with handling, and working and manipulating numbers and computations and scale. So great. So this is pretty much all you need. And the rest of it, you have to build on it by doing projects, by getting your portfolio. Great. So now this is actually a very, popular question. What am I going to learn during my 2 years in data science and even my master's, right? What will I be expected to do at the university at a postmaster's level?
Right. Yeah, this is a popular question. So, data science is an interesting field in itself. It's, many skills that are required in data science were already existing, but has been packaged in a specific way to be able to apply those skills in the industry, right? So, typical data science program or curricula looks like are, I would say, and you probably already covered this, not probably, you did cover this already. So a typical program or curriculum in data science would cover statistics, would cover mathematics, and would cover some computer science and computational technology areas, right? Then obviously you get into, so these are basically the preliminary, I would say, areas or areas of specialization that folks can concentrate in certain cases where in a data science curriculum. So for example, right, statistics would be needed for like result analysis and presenting decisions. Mathematics, like for example, linear algebra, combinatorics, etc. If someone is interested in probably like a cutting edge work in data science, those are some of the key areas. And computational basic of computer science and computational technologies, these have to be like, as a data scientist, you have to be able to productionize your models, scale up your models. Like these are some of the key things that are currently looked for in the industry. And I maybe I will get a chance to cover some of this particular thing a little bit better. But for now, let's just limit to the fact that some in areas of computer science and computational technologies are also taught as part of the curriculum of data science.
Could you give a couple of examples that come to your mind?
Regarding
the areas of computational science
Right. So regarding the computational science, so one of the key things that is used in data science and models. So most of the time, we work with large data sets, right? So parallelization, being aware of about computer architecture, being aware of about programming. I would say programming methodology, which covers this type of large scale, fast computation is are going to be like, so there are two things here. One is what is known as a distributed computation. So distributed computation is where you involve many nodes. Your computation involve many nodes. It's not limited to only one computer. It's limited to many nodes. So a distributed computation, parallel computation, these are some of the things that are typically covered from computer science in data science as well.
That's great. So, which a lot of people from the outside, may not understand these aspects, but I'm glad you touched on them. And these are some of the aspects which differentiate data science, a master's in data science from, say, a master's in business analytics. Right?
Yes.
Where you would not need to go into
you
these
would not.
aspects.
Right.
Yeah. So, and there'll probably be some people who would be encouraged by that observation as well in our session.
Yes.
So, another question on this topic: the courses in universities. How important are project-based courses, and how in India there's a lot of this theoretical and academic framework, and how does a data science degree incorporate real-world experience and projects into a degree course?
It's very important actually. So when you are going for a master's, I would say you are pretty much aiming towards getting into industry post your degree, right? That is essentially the aim, right? Obviously, you can get into research labs and things like that as well. But even then, that is industry, right? And if your career aim is to progress in the industry, it's very important that you start off with, for example, like an internship, and then follow up with apprenticeship and a few other those type of similar programs. So I would say that's very important. It's a key going to be a key pillar in your career for progression in this field.
Absolutely. So do a lot of project-based courses and also do internships in your space.
Yeah, I have a few specific ones. Let's see if maybe in the coming questions we can probably cover a little bit more on this.
We'll get into that. So this is actually a question that some of our students ask, and you can interpret it in different ways, right? I think on one hand, there is the promise or the allure of a well-paying job at the end of the rainbow, and can I get that without any prior proving or demonstration of my skills? And on the other hand, this question is more like I've done how can I build my there's a catch-22, right? I want to build my data science skills, but no one's going to give me an internship unless I have proven my data science skills. So how do I do that? And I think that is where the degree really helps you, because it gives you that provable, proof of demonstration of your capabilities. But generally, what is your advice to students who come with these kinds of questions?
Right. So the question, it's a bit of a interesting question. I would say there are somewhat limited possibility of gaining data analytics skill without any experience. So the experience, you develop skill through experience, right? Like it's as simple as that. And these are typically considered prereq to get into the career in itself. So maybe I will talk a little bit more on some of the specific skills or how you can develop these skills to avoid this catch-22 situation. But the possibilities are somewhat limited. You have to put in effort and invest to gain this experience in order to get into this career. So,
absolutely. So a couple of suggestions. When we've seen students ask this question, what we tell them is find your classmates or friends who have the similar kind of ambition, and want to get that experience, and take up group projects with them, because then you're not alone in this journey. And
Yes.
you can take up projects. So there are websites, where there are a lot of data sets now which are downloadable, and do an online course in try to take up some problem statements, and you can start. Once you make a start, you can build on that, right? It's like
Absolutely.
great. So don't let the empty slate prevent you actually drawing on it.
Yes.
Everybody starts with an empty slate.
Somewhere you have to start somewhere, and yeah, I have a few more points. Let's move forward. Let's see if
Absolutely.
we can get to that, and we can.
Sure, right. So here's another very popular question. What is the difference between data analytics, data science, machine learning, and business analytics?
Yeah, this is a very popular question. Actually, there are so many terms slash jargons that are used in this area in the industry that sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. So let me try and give a shot at trying to demystify this few jargons a little bit. So data analytics and business analytics are somewhat, I would say, very closely related. Okay, and data science and machine learning is closely related. So these are two slightly distinct areas with some overlap. Okay. When we are talking about data analytics or business analytics, we are mostly talking about what is known as a prescriptive analytics. So what it means is that you are basically analyzing data and you are presenting that result for decision making. Okay. So presentation and storytelling oriented. So this data analytics, business analytics is a little bit oriented towards like presentation and storytelling to get to those decisions, right? There is focus on, for example, statistics, econometrics, visualization. These are some of the core courses or some of the key areas where people in data analytics and business analytics actually come from. Okay. There are some applications of machine learning model, but you are typically not expected to, wear a data scientist hat and completely build data science models from scratch from given data. That is typically not a responsibility. However, there might be machine learning models that are already being used, and you might be asked to, for example, maintain those models, provide accumulate results of that model, provide analytics on the results of those models so that business decisions can be made. The main focus is on making business decisions from your work, right? That's the key thing for data analytics and business analytics. On the other hand, the data science, machine learning, this is actually an umbrella term covering what is known as predictive modeling. So predictive modeling is basically you're involved in models which predict certain things in certain business outcomes in future. Okay, so that's the key difference. The other one is prescriptive, this one is predictive, right? Other than statistics, which is also a focus, we discussed about this earlier, there is also focus on mathematics, for example, linear algebra, combinatorics. These are some of the topics that are key areas within this data science machine learning community. And also, as we were discussing, some of the concepts from computer science and computer architecture and so on and so forth. It goes much deeper much deeper into the techniques of machine learning. For example, deep learning, generative AI, large language models, this, that, etc. Those are some of the key areas where this goes into in depth. Whereas you can think of like data analytics, business analytics covers a more broad spectrum, mostly focuses on the business decision making side of things. I hope that gives a little bit of an insight into the difference.
Definitely. I love the way you sort of group these four into, data science and machine learning on one end. If there were an axis, it will be like, in my mind, machine learning, data science, data analytics, business analytics.
Yes.
Right. And the more you get towards the business analytics side of things, you're asking questions and running reports and trying to see what decisions to take. And the more you get into the machine learning and data science end of things, you're trying to it's like you're more of a detective at some aspect, trying to see
Yes.
how to, you can even be the one to come up with the questions to answer, or the intelligence and the data will tell you about it. So,
yes, absolutely.
And I thank you so much for the also talking about the predictive versus the prescriptive. right? I think that really brings out the difference quite well. So I hope this was very helpful to our students. So here's another really interesting question. Now, when you do a master's in data science, and I'm sure there are different, as you said, specializations or depth areas that one can take focused courses on, right? How does one choose electives in your master's, keeping their future career goals in mind?
So I would say, I mean, we sort of covered this already. So some of the again, when you are pursuing a master's in data science, the main goal is to get into industry, right? So it is imperative that you not only bring in the analytical rigor that is required, but also the storytelling and the visualization aspect of it. So these are some of the key areas that you. So in general, this type of programs like pursuing a master's in data science, these are already formulated in that way. Like that, a few curricula that I have seen, they have already arranged it in the specific areas where you are learning a little bit about statistics, about some basics about mathematics, and a few business analytics domain, for example, time series forecasting, and maybe some probability, econometrics, etc. And then there is also part of the courses are on like graphs, visualizations, using Python libraries to generate this type of visualization. And then finally, depending on how you take the electives, it can be a little bit deeper on the computer science front or a little bit deeper on the business aspect, problem solving aspect front. So
that's great. And I think this is where every individual must have a self-understanding as to what excites me and how
that is correct.
what I love doing in my career. You
Right.
want to spend a lot of time client facing, understanding their problems, or do you want to spend more time quietly coming up with solutions to problems? These are things you want to think about, and then like you said, accordingly choose your path. You want to go more into the computational aspect or more into the business aspect. Definitely, this is an important decision,
That's
and
right.
the electives and the projects that you take will accordingly pique the interest of an interviewer when you go out for a job.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Thank you. So here, I wanted to touch upon a few examples. There are students who have asked us, what if I have a really low GRE score? How is that going to affect my chances? See, I think like Samik said, it's a portfolio. You're not going to be judged by one aspect of your profile. We have had students with exceptional GRE scores get into really good programs. We have had students with mediocre scores get into programs as well. So I just want to give a very quick dose of inspiration to our audience. Those who have below par scores, below average GRE scores, and I want you to see how they have presented their portfolio here. You can see the number of projects, the internships, data analytics internship, data analytics and business analytics, a group rotational internship program, neural networks. This is just to give you an idea of how different people have, done their, overcome the GRE score. This is Kanak, who went from VIT Fellow to Ireland with this kind of profile. Here's another student, Pratyusha, who got less than 300 on the GRE, and she went to do her data science masters. And again, this is where you use your, the rest of your profile, the projects and your, test scores, academics, maybe IELTS, and as to make sure that the university finds you attractive. Meet Swati from Bangalore, who went on to the UK to do her masters at Queen Mary University in London. Again, 300 is quite it's the average GRE score, right? It falls exactly between a 260 and a 340. But see the kind of projects that she has done. You can see the depth of the, I'm sure there's a lot to write about in your statement of purpose, right? When you shift the
Yeah,
focus.
I agree. I don't really have mastery at just one thing is that as I was talking about like a portfolio approach, and also like good GRE score can cover for a few other weaknesses in the application portfolio. So yeah, I mean,
Very true.
It does
I
pay.
love that. Thank you for adding that. If you have very little few projects, or your projects are not relevant to data science or data analytics, and you have a great GRE score, definitely it can help compensate. And we have help students like that. Thank you for bringing that point out, Samik. Here is Dev Jyoti. He went on to the UK for a master's in data science. Again, different kinds of profile. His GRE score was quite bad, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
I love in his that little data analytics projects until you see here, he did a lot of projects, and we were able to in his SOP, in his statement of purpose, we were able to trace the journey of why he did the first project, what he learned from that, and why he what he wished he could do next, and then how that led to his second project and third project and so on. So if you can trace your journey and story, then that can definitely compensate for other lacunae in the system. So I think this question we sort of covered this earlier. I will skip this, where the point is, yes, limited experience. There are a lot of projects out there that you can take up on your own initiative. I strongly recommend partnering with friends, or your data science club in your college, or starting a club if there was none before. That also really will position. It's an interesting thing to write about in your SOP. Yeah. And because when you have a team, you can help, and you have a same goal, you have a shared goal, then definitely you can help each other doing that. So again, same answer to this question also. If you have no work experience, what do? How do you so-called crack the admission process? Projects, GRE scores, good GPA, and more projects. But they're not random, shooting spray and pray kind of projects, right? But the maybe Samik, if you can touch upon this a little bit. How does one choose what projects to take up, by keeping with their ability level, and as well as, people, not everybody can do something ground, breakthrough, right? How does one pick a good project?
So, since we're talking about admission, this is focused towards gaining admission to universities. So, first of all, I have to say that, work experience is not necessarily a must unless you are applying for business schools. Okay, so for engineering schools or for data science programs, it definitely helps, but it is not a must. You can compensate that with, just like what Pavitra was saying, with carefully chosen set of projects. Now the projects, yes, they do not have to be super grand or something. However, it would help if you can provide a unique, like why a particular project you picked up, and what was the unique aspect of that project, and what value it delivered to the business. If that was related to a business, that value proposition for your project is going to be a key thing while determining, while showcasing your let's say in your SOP, or your in helping you out in the admission. So I think that value proposition. So pick up the project where you can you can spin the story for a value proposition.
That's great. Thank you, Samik. The value proposition absolutely makes all the difference. So I love the fact that you talked about how it added value to the business, right? And a lot of people just think about, hey, I did this. No, but what the university wants to see is, how did that make a difference, an outcome, change it, and ideally quantitatively, if you can use the percentage or numbers to show, that really helps. A letter from the internship manager helps.
Yes.
And choose. So just don't worry about just start somewhere. And the beauty of what you said in terms of why you chose the project, again, that helps. Everybody thinks they have a resume, right? But resume only says where you did, what you did, when you did. Never says why you did. It doesn't say what you learned from it.
Yes,
so these are the aspects.
Absolutely spot on. Like those are the key things. And the admission school or the admission committee is looking for those information rather than the other pieces.
Great. So we'll have just a few more minutes of questions, and then afterwards I will be talking about the depth of how we can guide the students, right? So a couple of more questions here. how do I transition a career change from a non-computer science engineering background to a data scientist? And I'll give you the cultural, socio-cultural background behind this. A lot of so in India, your branch literally gets decided, your major gets decided by your marks, right? Now you could have don't ask me why, even the best of our institutes, right? So if you do exceptionally well in physics, chemistry, and math in the JEE, then you get to take computer science. Right now, a university in the US, when looking for their bachelor's in computer science, actually going to look at what did you do in computer science, right? What AP classes in computer science did you take? What projects did you do? But here the system is very different. So people end up joining majors and branches that they actually just want to run away from. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes, right? So for a lot of people with the analytical background and the nose for numbers, but they're not happy with their major and they think that data science can be a really good transition for them. Do you have any advice on how they can just make that leap and the transition?
Yeah, so this one I actually wanted to cover. I think I will take a little bit of time here because this is a very important question for many of us, right? So a couple of things to begin with. Data science as a career has evolved quite a bit. Okay. Even though it has been only, let's say, maybe 10-ish years, 10, 12-ish years, it has evolved. What I mean by that is that with the advent of computer, with the prevalence of computers and models and cloud computing providers and a few other things, data science itself has become quite commoditized. Okay, let me try to explain what that term means. What it means is that when businesses are looking to hire, many times it's happening now that people are not necessarily looking for data scientists. They are looking for people who can apply already existing models for their business use cases. So that is a typical career that has been a career progression. So when for example, I am hiring for my startup right now, I am not looking for data scientists. I'm looking for what I call a machine learning engineer. So a machine learning engineer, what they do is they look at machine learning models, apply those models for the specific business case, make them ready to be used in production, scale them up, and so on and so forth. So quite a bit of engineering along with data science. The core data science field, as it used to be, let's say some 5-6 years back, used to be people who are focused on has a master's or a PhD in one of these areas that we have already discussed and are involved in developing and researching on these models. That exists, but is much, much lower now in the last 2-3 years. Okay, that has gone through a bit of a transition. So that is my first point, that there has been a transition in the career itself. So make sure what you are getting into. And I have been saying this in a couple of other questions as well, is that make sure that you have covered your bases in terms of the engineering aspect of data science, not only the theoretical area of data science. That's a one point I wanted to make. Now let's move on to the actual question, like how about this career change. So given what I just mentioned, a typical transition path can look like something like a data engineering to ML engineering to data science. So let me try to explain. What is data engineering? Data engineering is essentially where you are dealing with data, a lot of data, creating the data pipeline so that it can be used in machine learning. So that is what is data engineering. What is ML engineering? ML engineering is you use that data, you sometimes end up using machine learning models which has either been prepared by you or by someone else and making them available in production so that you can solve business problems. That is ML engineering. What is data science? Data science is you are more focused towards building those models themselves. You are more focused towards a little bit of a research focus towards building innovative approaches to solve the models that would get used in your industry. So, given this pathway, data engineering, ML engineering, data science, how I would suggest to go about when you are not from, a core or a non-CS, you are from non-CS or an engineering background, is first of all start getting familiar with coding algorithms. This is important for not only for cracking those interviews, but also for your own benefit of getting into this field. This field is numerically intensive. You have to be familiar with coding algorithms. There is no way around. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, take online courses in this area. Okay, there are quite a few online courses in this area those are very helpful. There are quite a few, and majority of these are free. Okay, there are a lot of free online courses. Get a few of them in your cover a few of them. Then take up small projects in your current organization, if possible, to get experience on your resume. Try this. Try to get into projects in your current organization. Express your interest to your manager. Try to find out if there are opportunities within your organization which you can participate. This is one of the best ways to get into this, slowly moving into this type of career. Next is taking up freelance projects. There are a lot of websites who can give this. Freelance is not free. Freelance projects just does mean that if you do it properly, you do expect to get paid for. Freelance projects is one thing. Next is, I think Pavitra already mentioned, participating in competition platforms like Kaggle. Possibly one important thing about this, when you are participating in competition platforms like Kaggle, and this is also, I think Pavitra mentioned a couple of times, form a peer group with at least one or two people who are experienced in data science. You will learn much more rapidly. Form a peer group, and solve these problems together, right? It's very helpful. You will learn much faster in this way. Instead of trying to do it all alone, just setting up your account and try to do it. Form a peer group. And then the final one is look for internship in data science, either paid or unpaid or whatever it can. So these are some of the things about techniques of how you can transition from. Hopefully this is helpful. I think I took in quite some time, but
tremendously helpful, because these are such crucial questions, right? And
yes,
these are not questions that one can just. It's not like a simple flip of the switch decision,
yeah.
a
You have to plan it
life-changing
out.
decision. So
Right.
thank you for going into the detail on that. I just wanted to give a little bit of encouragement to some of
Yes.
our audience here. Completely different areas, metallurgy to data science. These are from Galvanize students, so you can again see the we would have helped them craft their SOP in this particular way. From aerospace to data science. This is Suvalina from chemical engineering to data science.
It's definitely possible.
Civil engineering to data science. You can definitely make that transition. Now we've talked a lot about the the projects and the learning and the concepts. So a little bit on the soft skills. What are the hard skills and soft skills? You talked about the nose for numbers. Are there any other skills and soft skills that one needs to possess to become a successful data scientist?
Right. So when we talk about soft skills, yes. So hard skills we already discussed, like data science, statistics, computer systems, computer software basics, and so on. The key in this field is to the ability to tell a story with data. Okay, so storytelling, presentation skills, ability to provide visualizations and tell a story to a business leader. I think that's a very important soft skill here. Presentation skill is a very important soft skill here. Another soft skill that I would say, I mean, it's sort of in the middle between soft and hard, is the you should be able to read technical papers a little bit, grok the ideas, and see if you can transform those ideas into relevant steps for your use case. So this is all in respect to your use case when you are sort of solving, when you are in a program or when you are in industry. An ability to sort of transform ideas quickly to relevant steps for your business and show value. That's also an important skill, I would say.
Absolutely. Oh, I love the way you said, ability to tell a story with data, right? It is extremely an important skill in a business setting, right? And this is
again, these answers are tailored towards like assuming that you are going to join industry. That's what the aim is.
That's right. That's right. You know, and sometimes even in academia, right?
Even in
You
academia.
do need
I
these.
mean, these are
Yeah.
probably skills which helps you anywhere. But yeah.
Great. Thank you for that. So this is an interesting question. What is the most challenging part of being a data scientist? And what yeah, I think I'll let you take it over.
Okay. Yeah, so the first one, so I have 2 points here when I think about challenges, right? The first challenge is what I just mentioned in detail in the previous question, is that this career is actually evolving quite a bit. It has already within, so this is one of the youngest career choices, right? And it's a very hot career choice, of course, right now. But if you look at its career in, let's say, statistics, right, that career has not dramatically evolved over, like, let's say, decades, whereas the data science being maybe in there for like last 10, 11 years has already morphed into quite a few things, right? So I just discussed about moving more and focusing more towards machine learning engineering rather than a pure play theoretical data science type of thing. So those are some of that is one challenge, that this you have to keep track of how this industry and this career is evolving. Number two is that it's also a challenge to keep up with advances in this field. This field progresses very fast because there are so many people that are focusing in this field, right? And these are highly technical people. They bring in papers, conferences, codes all the time, right? Like in a year you will find like tremendous amount of advancement. And like think about ChatGPT, right? How many of you are currently using ChatGPT for various things? And ChatGPT was nowhere some 5-6 months back. Like it's that fast, right? Now you cannot even think about without using ChatGPT to do something. Like that is the pace of innovation in this field, and that is also a challenge.
Thank you so much for that. Right, you're absolutely right. Recently someone told me that I wanted to become a data scientist, but now I've decided to become a yoga teacher.
It can definitely it can probably prompt you to look at some other career options in some cases, I think.
Right. So you have to stay ahead. And one of the students just asked, with so many people, almost like a herd effect, going into data science today, there are bound to be cases where exceptional people will have an advantage over someone who just came in because somebody, my neighbor and this neighbor are all going into this field. So pick something that you will shine in, right?
That is correct. That is correct. You have to understand a little bit what is your strength and play on that strength. So.
Great, thank you. This can be the last question for you, Samik. So, and there are a couple of more which I will definitely delve into and we go into the details. So, which a lot of people, US is definitely where it's a wellspring of a lot of this innovation happens, and there are historical and reasons for it. But apart from the US, if someone, what countries, and this is a very general question, like which countries should one consider based on the economy, the projects, the job opportunities, the in infrastructure research. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I think US is obviously a key choice, but US also has been like there has been a flux in the legal framework and in immigration framework in that country. So there has been some uncertainties. So it is definitely I would say a must to look at this again as a portfolio approach. Like look not only for US universities but also a few universities in other geographical areas just to sort of diversify. Again, picking up a few terms from personal finance here. So Canada is a good choice. Canada is a good choice, notwithstanding whatever the current brouhaha is going on some of the things. But Canada is a good choice because there are quite a few key researchers in machine learning are from Canada. And they are in a few areas. So some of the key cities like Vancouver and Toronto, they are really good in data science and machine learning. There are a few other areas as well, but Canada is a good choice. UK, Australia, and Singapore are the three other areas which I have found as good. I have kept Europe deliberately out, not because they do not have good programs, but just because that Europe has a little bit of a language barrier, which does not happen for UK, Australia, and Singapore. So that's one this thing. I would also like to cover a little bit taking into account the career prospects while applying for data science programs and things like that. Like one key thing, first of all, to note that scope for career in data science, data analyst is immense both in our country and abroad. Please don't write off our country. India is progressing at a tremendous speed and a lot of opportunities. It's one of the major growth economies, lot of opportunities in India. That's one key thing. While looking for other countries, in countries like USA, certain pockets of US are more mature than others. Like, for example, Pavitra, you're from Bay Area. I have myself worked for briefly in Bay Area. It's very mature and there are a lot of opportunities, but it's also quite competitive. There are other places within US which are more emerging, and it would probably make sense to look at those cities. And this same principle applies to other countries also. Right, there you will find pockets where it is more mature, so more competitive, whereas there would be other places where it is competition is somewhat lower and it would be much easier to get into. So yeah,
thank you so much for that. I love the fact that you talked about don't let the current political situation dissuade you and from a country, and one advice that we give all our students is you can always apply to more than one country.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
typically, our students apply to 2 countries because it gives you backup. You can look at the admissions that you get. You can look at the prevailing, situation there, and then you can decide. So please apply to more than one country. And like you rightly pointed out, within countries, they develop specific hubs. Right, like in India, Bangalore definitely is a hub, and yet there are other pockets where things are really interesting, like Pune or so on. So you can go to where the growth is. It's almost like investing in a sense. Right, you can't really time the market, but you can look around and see where the signals are coming from. So yeah, I do want to thank Samik for being a part of this conversation. I have a couple of more questions and some gyan to give our students, so please do stay back. But Samik, thank you very much, and we look forward to hosting you on another session. I loved your clarity and the depth and the ease with which you sharing your all this valuable information. So we'd love to have you on for another session, preferably about the PhD deep dive. So
sure, I'm very much looking forward. Thank you very much for inviting me. It was such a pleasure. The really nice questions, and I hope it was helpful. I'm sorry, I have to drop off a little bit. Something has come up, so I do have a hard stop. But thank you very much again. I really enjoyed the session. Looking forward.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye. And to the rest of you, here I'm going to answer some more popular questions that you all had. Now here I want to share with you actual example. I've shown you many examples of students who went to different countries other than the US for data science. These are all again students that we have guided at Galvanize on how to go through their experience and how to portray their experience. Ireland, University College Cork is a very reputed institute in Ireland. This is one of our students went there. You can see the profile. So you can see that GRE is not that required for many of the other countries, right? In some but it is always better to take it because you can apply to US and to another country also. This is Divya from New Delhi, undergrad in BITS computer science, went to Australia for her master's in data science. Meet Tushar from Pune, who studied at the University of Delhi. Went to Germany for data science. But we have a lot of international students as well. We have guided students from Bangladesh, Nepal, Nigeria, Ghana. Next time I request my team to share more international profiles as well. So it's not just students from one country, but the idea is for you to understand how you need to build your profile and build your portfolio of projects. So that's why I want to show you how we have guided our other students. I'm just going to skip over this question. I think we spoke a lot about the career opportunities, Samik did. And this also is something that we talked about. Is it worth leaving a top software industry in India and doing a master's abroad? Now, this is a question that a lot of our working professional students ask us, right? I have a well-paying job right now. And some of you in today's conversation have also written on chat, like I have 8 years of work experience in software. I have 10 years of work experience. Do I do a master's? So see, we always at Galvanize, this is what we recommend. Unless you try, you will never know what you could get. right? It doesn't mean that you must do your master's, but you can apply to universities while you're still working. We can guide you through the process. And then you can look at your admits and see if you're interested in pursuing. See, remember, paying your tuition and taking out a loan or using your savings, and that is a different level of expense, right? But applying to universities is not going to be that expensive. Just because you apply to university doesn't mean you must take up the admission. But if you don't even apply, how are you going to know what you could have gotten? And how would that be an intelligent decision to make if you don't know what your choices are? Right? I hope this answers your question. I think a couple of you had asked a question. A had asked me directly, I have 10 years of experience in the IT industry. Can I transition? We had another one, multiple people in today's session asking, I have work experience. What do I do? Please apply to universities. Go through the application process. See what you get. Then you can decide whether you want to leave your job or not. And remember, all of these programs are stepping stones to even better career opportunities than what you could have right now. It also opens up different places of living for you. So it's a personal decision, but at Galvanize, we can guide you to go through this opportunity and just, it's an experience by itself, applying to universities abroad and seeing what you get. And then you can decide whether to take it up or not. Then you can decide whether you want to go for the student visa or you don't want. So don't worry, just go ahead and try. And we can guide you, and then you can always sit back and take your question. And some of you asked me, what about my long years of work experience away from academia, away from college, beyond graduation? Look, it is all about the spirit of learning. We actually have students in their 50s and 60s, I'm not joking, who have had a long career, but in a different field, and now they want to be active and work on the latest technologies, and they have sort of fulfilled their duties. We've had people who kids are even gone to college, and now the parents want to go to college because there's so many things they wish they could have done, and now they want to pursue their dreams. So don't worry, age is no bar for a master's degree abroad, and definitely we are glad to assist you in any aspect. Okay. So this is another question. What about the return on investment if I go through this process? So let me answer this with a very simple data point for you. The cost of studying, doing your master's in the US can vary between $25,000 to $50,000 per year. Right? This is the total cost, including the tuition and the living expenses and so on. So let's say you have invested anywhere between $50,000 to $120,000 for your 2-year master's degree in the US. Now, different countries, the costs vary, right? Singapore is much less expensive, but getting a job in Singapore after you graduate is extremely difficult, right? Germany can have its own, uniqueness. So, the language barrier is there, but if you get into the TU9, like the top institutes, the tuition is taken care of. So the cost varies from country to country. But the ROI, now you should know that the typical starting salaries of offered for a data scientist in the US is something like around $100,000 to $120,000 per year. Now, if you were to live, a good frugal lifestyle, then definitely, you can, get into an excellent, opportunity, right? So if as long as you don't party every day and buy, expensive cars and this and that, if you are frugal about your choices, you can pay off your education loan, or if you've done your courses well, you could get a scholarship from the university, depending on how you put forth your application. So, just the ROI, the starting salaries are really interesting and very lucrative. So it's one of the most sought after fields for this particular reason. And hence, yes, the ROI is there if you're able to stand out and go. Of course, you have to hunt for jobs. You will have to go through an interview, but definitely you have an excellent foundation for your career. So advice for the next generation. all my thousands of students whom we have guided to study abroad, the one piece of advice that I've consistently found, and I wish they asked me at the beginning is this: start early. Right, start the process early. Do not wait until the last minute because it's so competitive. There are millions of students wanting to study abroad at these good universities. So please start early. Do not postpone or procrastinate. And second advice is take professional help. It is not just the process is much more involved than just writing an exam and scoring good marks. It's about presenting yourself, writing an essay that describes who you are, why you undertook this journey. And this is not something that students in Asia or Africa are used to doing in their school education process. So definitely, take guidance, start early, and go through the process. Do not hesitate. Take advice. And do everything at the right time, and then you will be able to have some excellent admissions that you can choose from. So when should we start preparing for applying to universities abroad? Now, there is a timeline concept here. See, you have to understand that the GRE is valid for 5 years. So we recommend our students to take the GRE in their first year or second year or third year of their engineering or undergrad program. If you're in a 3-year program, then you can take it in your first or second year. There's nothing in the GRE syllabus that requires your college curriculum, right? So in your final year of undergrad is when you're going to take the TOEFL or the IELTS exam, because those exams have a validity of 2 years. Right. And in the summer between your third and fourth year, or during your third year or your penultimate year, is when you have to start preparing the foundation for your statement of purpose. So at Galvanize, how it works is we ask you questions, in-depth questions that go into the detail and where you just give us your inputs. You're not expected to draft an essay. We know you're not comfortable. Many of us are not used to writing these essays, but we'll ask you a lot of questions. Just fill up a Google form, pour your heart into it, and then we will draft the essay for you. So all of this can be done between your penultimate year and your final year. So we will also take your inputs from your internships and narrate your journey. So definitely by October, November of your final year, you have to do this process, or latest by December. And then we apply to universities in December, Jan, Feb. That's a regular deadline. But if you want to have a good chance at top universities, then you can apply by priority deadlines, which are often in September and October and even August. So as soon as the application portal opens, if you're ready with your application, then they are likely to consider it and earlier. And I strongly encourage that for your dream universities. You will get to know your admissions deadlines by December if you applied in the priority deadline, and you'll get to know by Feb, March, April if you applied during the regular deadline. So once you confirm your agreement to the university, then you can prepare for your student visa, which will guide you through the process. So this is how the timeline works for the fall intake. Spring term often starts in January, and there the deadlines are different. So the top universities have deadlines by April for the April, May, March for the next January, and the other universities have deadlines in July, August, September for the or occasionally even October for January. So it varies from country to country. I hope this gave you good clarity on the timeline that you're going to go through the process. So I'll touch upon a little bit as to the scholarship aspect. So now, how to fund your education. Now, if a university or a government or an agency is giving you, funding without expecting you to pay it back, that's called a scholarship. An education loan means you can take it from a bank or a loan provider, and you can also dip into your savings, especially if you're working professional or if your family is willing to fund. So these are the ways in which people tend to fund in their education. Now, in terms of scholarships by universities, there are different kinds. There's a fellowship, there's a teaching assistantship and research assistantship. And as you can see, some of them require you to work for the university for a certain amount of time every week. And many of them, the tuition is also taken care of. In the US, you're not allowed to work outside the campus during the academic term, but there are other countries which allow you to do so. Nevertheless, I do not recommend, working, in a non-related area during your studies, because it can take a toll on your scores. I'd rather you take an education loan, get excellent grades, get excellent interviews, get a lovely job and pay it back. This is, I was fortunate to receive a fellowship from Stanford. These are some of our students who have received, this is Asmita who has received a research assistantship that takes care of her complete education at Purdue. You can see, her background. So we would have guided her to portray her strengths throughout her application. This is another one of our students who's from IIT Tirupati. He got a teaching assistantship where he supports a professor to teach a course, and this also takes care of his complete cost of education. So these, again, we can guide you. We are there for you, right? But you have high chances of scholarship if your application is very strong. If the university feels like, I want this student to attend, and to study at my university, and that will be there if you really check a lot of boxes in terms of how strong your application profile is. Plan B, education loans are always there. Very safe nowadays. Companies, loan companies have, they have so much data about, we're talking about data science. They have so much data about what students earn after they graduate, from which university, from which department, and they're able to use this data to offer you custom interest rates. We have tie-ups with organizations who will give you a loan without even requiring collateral or co-signer. So public banks do not do that, but there are very reputed organizations that use their data science to actually give you these kinds of loans. So definitely you can do that. This is one of our students, Sucheta, who got a loan of more than $100,000, which we helped match her with a suitable loan provider for her profile, and this helped us. So you can definitely go through this process, and at Galvanize we can guide you. So how do we guide you in Galvanize? So apart from the mobile apps, we can help you with our test preparation and our admissions counseling, both of which are online. Very happy to share that we have 99.3% success rate for admissions to universities abroad for all the students who have followed our process diligently. And we have helped our students get into almost 150 different areas of specialization in more than 16 destination countries. And students from more than 20 countries have signed up for our admissions counseling processes. Right? So in terms of test preparation, when you enroll for a Galvanize program, you're going to get a complete personalized study plan. You can ask any number of questions on the portal, and our experts will answer those questions for you within a working day. You have in-depth feedback and analytics, and you have mock tests conforming to the latest GRE pattern or the new TOEFL pattern as well. So everything is very personalized, and it's completely online and self-paced. In terms of admission counseling, first we gather a lot of information about your profile. You can just fill up a form, and but a very in-depth form. It's not, take your time and give us the information, and then we will recommend to you universities based on your profile. We classify them as ambitious or practical or safe, and then we can help you draft your statement of purpose, your letters of recommendation, all of which are coming from the inputs given by you. This is very important. Don't let somebody write your SOP on their own. It has to have your uniqueness, because universities do run all kinds of AI and plagiarism detectors to see whether it's copied or whether it is original, right? And once you get the admits, we can help you with the visa and the financing and the pre-departure services. So this is how the Galvanize solution works for admission counseling, and I'm very excited to guide you all through this process. So with that, we come to the end of our today's session. I hope this was informative. I do want to run a poll. I need to know how useful this session was for you. And I think we've already run that poll inadvertently earlier. So I would love to hear on the chat. I would love to see. Thank you. Please, how did you? Please answer this question. How did you feel about the session? And this will help us as we plan more informative sessions for our students in the coming days. And definitely schedule a one-on-one conversation, a profile evaluation. The link is shared with you in the chat, because here it's not easy for us to guide everybody with your unique circumstances and your unique background. But if you thank you, Swati, for sharing your feedback on the session. That's what motivates us, to know that it was helpful for you all. And so please learn, have a one-on-one session, schedule it, just click on the link, because then we can spend a lot of time looking into your profile. And I will also request my team to share examples of students very similar to your profile and how we guided them and what outputs and outcomes they got. So, very happy that 86% of you have found this session very useful. Thank you so much. That makes a lot of difference to us. So once again, I want to, thank you for attending. I'm glad this was helpful to you. And I wish you all the very best in your journey. And in case you have any specific questions, please let us know. Please schedule a one-on-one session. We can dive into the details of your profile. We can get multiple experts to look at it and give you specific answers which are relevant for your profile. So yes, Sumana asks if we can get a recording of this. Yes, can I request my team to share the YouTube live stream link right here on the chat window, because that means this session will be available on YouTube and you can come and take a look at it at any time. So thank you very much once again. The beauty is the fact that you're giving time on a Sunday to look at how to advance your higher education and your academic journey and your career journey means that you already have the spirit of what it takes to be successful. And I'm so excited that you're here with Galvanize, and we are ready to galvanize you in your journey on studying abroad. So this is Pavitra, founder of Galvanize Global Education, signing off for today. Thank you very much for all your questions, for your interaction, and for your aspirations. And we would love to fulfill your dreams. Thank you and good.